Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Gungans and Droids across this beautiful Kyber Empire. It is truly great to be in the Empire today. It's because today we're going to be going over the 2025 greatest ultimate free-to-play farming guide in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. And as always, I always want to start off by thanking you guys. This is always the biggest video of the year for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Last time I did this video, what was the Gary? 233 trillion views, 8-point-something trillion likes, and that wasn't even a full year that video is out. So I thank you for always supporting this every single year. It's time to get down to business and talk about what's on the agenda for 2025. Starting off with the core concept that we brought up last year, the Skywalker Triangle. Jabba Skywalker, Jedi Master Luke, or Leia Organa. This, I believe, is the heart, soul, foundation of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, forcing you to build your branches through the game, touching on ships, amazing characters, building towards galactic legends, early setups, long-term payoffs. Coming into either one of these points as your entryway is all fine and dandy. I'm going to recommend Jabba the Hutt as our entry point yet again into this Skywalker Triangle. Why? Because he's one of the best overall galactic legends, incredibly important for Rise of the Empire and territory battles. Very helpful to get additional modding resources into your arsenal, and overall the requirements are okay. But what Jabba has is building foundations needed to lead to important ships such as the Executor, which is what Jabba the Hutt helps us out. Before we guide you through your journey in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, if this is your first point of contact with the game, one thing I want to make incredibly clear right from the get-go before we start talking about the characters. Ships, I know for most people that's not why you're playing this game, but boy oh boy, it is one of the most important things. And it also takes quite a long time to set up all these big ships that you're going to need for the long term of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and it's going to be incredibly important to get your Zeta inventory. So what I would recommend to all you people, the second you get access to these ships, IG-2000, Xanadu Bloods, Imperial TIE Fighter, Imperial TIE Bomber, and the TIE Advance, farm them ASAP. Razor Crest especially, the second you get fleet arena shipment, start farming. It is a long grind. It is now easier than ever to farm things like the Imperial TIE Bomber because they added it to the Galactic War shipments as of this past year in 2024. But now that I set that out of the way, it's now time we get down to business and start breaking down our journey. And just like last year, the first dark side team you're going to want to farm in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is going to be the Imperial Troopers. Led by General Veers, you're going to be, first off, having fun. It's a game at the end of the day, right? You want to be having fun. General Veers is probably the best way to get into this game and have an absolute blast, rolling over characters. The thing that's really important about this, it forces you to build Admiral Piet to lead to the Executor. We're going to use those Imperial Troopers to build into that Skywalker Triangle. And your first point of entry to that Skywalker Triangle, we want to get R2-D2 as early as possible. And the first light side team that you're going to be farming, just like last year, the Phoenix Crew. Ever since the addition of Captain Rex a few years ago, the Phoenix have had a period of enlightenment, ton of fun, and with the Phoenix Crew, you now have your key to unlocking Grand Admiral Thrawn. Oh, let's just say his importance shot up a little bit, and I'm going to bring it up here. It's probably a little bit too early to recommend this for new players, and this might be an experimental thing that I try down the road. But if you're someone that's feeling bold and brave and want to do something outside the Skywalker Triangle, Baylan Skoll. Thrawn is your first piece of the puzzle, and the great thing about Baylan Skoll, his requirements are very good. Building up your new Great Mothers team, such as the Great Mothers with Morgan Elsbeth, forms one of the best non-legendary teams in this game. But if you're someone that wants to do something a little bit different, maybe not want to do the core Skywalker Triangle, this is something I think might become a bit more important down the road, especially when his requirements are double drop farmable, which as of now is not the case. But anyways, let's get back on the path, people, and keep pushing forward in our journey. And now we're gonna get Commander Luke Skywalker. Very simple character to build up and early right away. And with all these variety of rebels that you're gonna have, the Phoenix and the Commander Luke stuff, you'll be able to easily get Emperor Palpatine without any problem. Especially if you farm that Captain Rex, you're living life on easy mode. Just like last year, it's always important to kind of pause. When you're going through Galaxy of Heroes, Turtles. And if you want to be a functioning member in, let's say, a blossoming guild that's just starting off, you're going to want to take the time to farm your Geonosians. Now, I will say, if you're going to be carried by already a great guild that's able to get you Watam Boar stuff, you maybe not need to have to do this. Or if you guys are doing Rise of the Empire, maybe not a great reason to get Geonosians, but just always want to pause for this step. And of course, Geonosians make it incredibly easy to get Padme Amidala as early as possible. Let's get rid of those Geonosians. Let's focus back onto what we're trying to do. Knock on the door of the Skywalker Triangle. And one thing that's going to be incredibly important is getting your bounty hunters at this point. And let's just say it got a heck of a lot easier. Mando and Greef Karga, where in 2024, they were added to things like the Galactic War shipments. But being able to get your bounty hunters, especially boss, once you get access to the boss node, the hard node, you need to farm that right away. That is one of the cardinal rules of Star Wars Galaxy. The second you see boss, you need to farm him. And with the bounty hunters, you have a variety of bounty hunters you can use at your disposal to unlock your Chewbacca, able to take that piece of the puzzle and making your Commander Luke even more powerful. And after that, my friends, you should hopefully have your bounty hunter ships in line. We're gonna need these bounty hunter ships to unlock Millennium Falcon, which is gonna be more important as we work our way towards the other big capital ship that we might just talk about. And if you farm the bounty hunter ships like I recommended at the very beginning, and the Empire ships I recommended, you should already be getting Zetas into your inventory. If you want to go build up some more foundational teams, this is always that period where it could make sense. Now, if you're looking just to keep beelining towards your Jabba the Hutt, you can skip out on this, but I recommend, because they're fun characters and they're going to be important for other things down the road, farming your Revans, your Jedi Knight Revans, as well as your Darth Revan. Both of these are solid, staple, foundational teams. They're going to help you through a variety of the early game teams that you're going to encounter and be some of these solid defenses, like Darth Revan. Both of these leading you towards Darth Malak. And let's just say Darth Malak, whew, if you're going to be staying on top of Conquest and eventually getting Malgus, we'll talk more about Proving Grounds and Conquest characters later on. Solid character, and he's pretty good at soloing a variety of stuff. And if you do unlock Jedi Knight Revan, well, let's just say you're going to be more than prepared to unlock Grand Master Yoda at this point. And if you're someone that's using Jedi Knight Revan to unlock Grand Master Yoda, your life is pretty easy. We need to keep moving on. You're going to be already having likely a lot of the things set out for Beskar Mando. Why? Because we want to get the Razor Crest up and running. And a reminder, make sure you're farming the Razor Crest in that fleet shipments ASAP. Now that you have your Razor Crest, your Beskar Mando, you farmed the bounty hunter ships, you got that Pietha relic, it's time to unlock the Executor. And this is why I recommend going for Jabba the Hutt, because it forces you to work towards the scoundrels, the bounty hunters. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. Make sure you don't tell anyone else. One of the best ways free-to-play people can get access to crystals is through Fleet Arena. And the earlier you dominate in Fleet Arena, the easier it's going to be to get crystals, especially in a world where Grand Arena matchmaking's gonna hit you hard. We're going to keep moving on, people. Keep pushing towards our Jabba the Hutt, where the next thing is going to be C-3PO. Now, what we're going to be recommending now that they're double drop farmable, we want to make sure you get Nyssa. It'd be foolish not to farm Nyssa. She makes the C-3PO event easier. Then we get to what's really at the heart of the Skywalker Triangle. Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker. Once you get Jedi Knight Luke, this is kind of where you're at a huge milestone in the game. Be proud of yourself. And you are now at the heart of the beast of that Skywalker Triangle. And what does that mean? Jabba the Hutt is right around the corner for you. And here's where you have your first Galactic Legend. Top shelf power in the game. And you know what the best part about it is? Getting into your next Galactic Legend is very easy. I would recommend, from personal experience, it has been an amazing feeling going from Jabba the Hutt towards Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. A 3-month farm in total, getting 2 Galactic Legends in a 3-month span free. And in order to get to that Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, we need to get BB-8. And what does that require? Well, that requires some First Order members. And here's where Lightspeed bundles are a big thing in this game. Some of, if not the best value if you were going to spend money. The problem is we don't know when they show up again in the game, if they ever will. And I will say, although this is a free-to-play oriented guide, if you do see Supreme Leader Kylo Ren or the BB-8 bundles show up, or the Negotiator bundles show up, these are Lightspeed bundles that are going to drastically enhance your performance. But just want to bring it out here, this is not a Lightspeed bundle oriented guide. If you were wanting to spend a little bit of money, the Lightspeed bundles, you can't really go wrong. But I digress. Once you get your First Order members up and running, we're going to be able to get ourselves Jedi Training Ray, which is a necessity for Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. And once you get Jedi Training Ray up and running, fairly simple thing to get overall. Now we are able to get Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. Oh, it's a good feeling. And Jedi Master Luke is a fairly solid all around. Overall though, not as powerful as Leia and Jabba, but still, you built so many great teams with this so far. What if we were able to capitalize on all these solid, grounded teams that you've built up with me over the course of, what was it, a few minutes here? Isn't that funny? No, this is a multi-month, multi-year journey that we're embarking on, people. Patience is key. I would recommend, if you're looking for a side project, this might be a great opportunity to build up Star Killer. Why would we recommend Star Killer at this point? Well, you built up some really solid stuff. You built up a Rebel fighter. Don't you want to take him to the next level? Get yourselves Kyle Katarn. Maybe get Dashinar to build up on your scoundrels that you built up so far. You want to get that Mara Jade to make your Palpatine even better, and Star Killer is going to plug in very well in there, and giving yourself another way of countering a variety of galactic legends. But again, if you just want to keep pushing, you can put Star Killer to the side. Now, I would highly recommend the Profundity. And here's the great thing. If you followed my advice, going for Jabba, going for Jedi Master Luke early on, the reason why I recommend those two units is because they help you get in line to unlock the Profundity. You now have another massive tool at your disposal for Grand Arena territories and a solid counter to both Executors and even Leviathans on top. And then once you have the Profundity up and running, you build all those great requirements. You probably already got a lot of great stuff at your disposal. You can get the Chimera. Now, I unfortunately hate to say the Chimera took a massive hit in 2024, where the developers very controversially basically nerfed the Chimera into near oblivion. But still, having the Chimera up and running, and let's say you already made some work in Proving Grounds, you might already have like a 5-star TIE Interceptor. You can still beat, for example, Negotiators, maybe some Malevolences. But I digress, people. Let's keep moving on. Get to that final point in the Skywalker Triangle, and you know what that is? That's gonna be Leia Organa. Now, as I said, whatever you do in this game, pick what you want to do the most. If you're looking to beeline for one of the best bang per buck all-around galactic legends on offense and defense, that's gonna be Leia. So likely, if you follow my logic on what galactic legends I would pursue in the capital ships, Leia falls in at this point, and it's about the time where I'm gonna be unlocking her this year on my free-to-play. And basically at this point, I would say if you complete the Skywalker Triangle, congratulations, my friends. You basically, I believe, tackled the heart of this game. But we got some other stuff to do. Let's say you want to take your Jedi Master Luke to the next level. This might be a great opportunity. Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, one of the last remaining low gear unlock legendaries we have. Well, there's a lot of Kyrotech, but still, Gear 12 needed. Such a fun character. I would recommend getting him just to amplify Jedi Master Luke's capabilities. And if you're looking to get your next galactic legend, based on everything that we kind of left on the ground here, you have yourselves Sith Eternal Emperor. Such an easy galactic legend to pick up at this point. Sith Eternal is going to be a great way, a decent all-around offensive tool to beat a lot of great light side teams. And of course, hopefully, you took some of my advice, had your eyes on Wat Tambor. So hopefully you have Wat Tambor to amplify Sith Eternal's power. But people, there's something we gotta talk about. I know we're turning down for Wat around here. Yay! Did they get the joke? I don't know if they got the joke. But here's what I would recommend. Wat Tambor is basically the core issue of Jedi Master Kenobi. The earlier you get Wat Tambor and Commander Ahsoka Tano, you might move Jedi Master Kenobi a lot earlier. But then, what we're gonna be looking at is gonna be building up your General Anakin Skywalker. A decent, even to this day, no Omicron. But the main reason why we're doing this is because at this point, you're probably not that far off from unlocking Maul. And here's where mainly we wanna get into the Lord Vader grind. Why? Well, we hope you have Maul at this point. And if you don't have Maul, maybe you don't go for Lord Vader at this point. But the main thing is to build up your Marauder. Well, the Marauder is probably the most important non-legendary ship in this game as it stands. You have to build up the Bad Batch in the Lord Vader requirements, and hopefully you're farming that Marauder. You should be making sure you bookmark that lovely, lovely Marauder. It really amplifies the Negotiator's power. Great off-meta counters for things like Leviathan, Executor, That's like all the 3 big capital ships, and Marauder makes that possible. And further note, when it comes to building up things like the Negotiator, you want to use your guild event token currency to get up your Malevolence and your Negotiator first. So then afterwards, you can swim in all that juicy Kyrotech. But now, people, what do we got after this? How about we get that Supreme Leader Kylo Ren? Now, this could be a bit of a game changer, depending on how you are in the future. But Dark Side Vision Race coming out this year, it's predicted that Supreme Leader Kylo Ren is going to rise access to some of the highest levels of power. If you're someone that's going to get Darkseid Ray a bit early, you might want to move the Supremator Kyle Ren grind up earlier. And then we get to the last few things that we have. Galactic Legend Ray. She's kind of an odd one. She's an annoying defensive Grand Arena team, and if you have Ben Solo, it's sort of a no-brainer to get him as well alongside Ray. And now we're going to add something that came up last year in 2024, the Gungans. Although we're coming somewhere close to the end of the Naboo raid, they're still going to be a solid team overall. And then we're going to get sort of another important sidetrack project. Bo-Katan Mandalore is very important for countering things like Lord Vader, making it easier than ever. Kind of a bonus thing. This is a conversation you need to have your guild, but if you can get your entire guild to work on Bo-Katan and you can get towards the Tatooine planet and unlock Mandalore, you might be able to get a lot of use out of this. Bo-Katan's special mission is something a lot of guilds strive for. And we get to the Inquisitors, and this is where things get really interesting. The caveat here is if you happen to be in a good guild and you happen to unlock Reva before the Grand Inquisitor, scoot this up a little earlier, because why? Reva is an absolute monster of a team. Otherwise, I would say if you're nowhere near Reva, maybe push the Inquisitors even farther down the road. But you know what's really going to be fun at the end of this journey? Getting these last few things up and running. Aphra, I would say she's not all that amazing compared to things like Bo, compared to things like Jedi Knight Cal, or things like Star Killer. And now we get to the last, and they're very similar. These are the two most difficult, most expensive farms in Star Wars Galaxy at the time of this video. Leviathan. There is a key thing that you need to keep in mind. I want to make it first and foremost obvious. This is not a ship you can farm day one. You have no way of getting Leviathan until you're 4 million GP, getting your Fury class interceptor and Darth Malgus, and you need some Relic 9s under your belt. Leviathan is a very tough capital ship to get at that point. And the last thing on our list here, Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano. This is going to be at the very end for a variety of reasons. She requires 3 Relic 9s. That's a little stingy, my friends. And furthermore, it's arguable that, well, things like Leia and other Galactic Legends, they're better overall investments to build a lot more teams. But overall, I would say it's a little early. Assuming you have Ezra Bridger, Exile, and that's going to be probably the determining factor if you should get Galactic Legend Ahsoka. Ahsoka with Ezra Bridger Exile is looking to be the best PvP Galactic Legend in terms of just performance. She definitely has just that little bit of an edge in PvP as it stands, but who knows what 2025 is gonna bring for this game. And my friends, that is basically our farming guide for 2025. And let me tell you something, this is not something you're gonna do in a month. This game, if you're not used to these type of games, it's a multi-year grind, but through that grind, you're gonna meet a lot of amazing people. You're gonna have a lot of great memories and a lot of great moments achieving all these milestones. It's a journey, not a marathon, my friends. And although this is the logical order, I think, in terms of being efficient, I want to remind you, there's a lot of other fun side projects, non-Galactic Legend, non-legendary things that you build up over time, potentially. For example, my free-to-play account, I unlocked Queen Amidala last year and Darth Bane, and I'm like, oh man, you know, I'm gonna pause something. I'm gonna build up my Queen Amidala for the Naboo raid. Plus, she was an amazing character, still is to this day. And I kind of changed my course a little bit as a result in getting Jedi Master Kenobi just a little bit earlier. So although this is the core of the game, there are times where after you complete a project, depending on what you're doing and proving grounds and what conquest units you unlock, it could alter something. So be flexible. Find the things that make you love Star Wars Galaxy. So as always, I want to thank you guys for being here yet again in 2025 for the ultimate free-to-play farming guide. Thank you as always for being a part of this, supporting it, leaving that like. There will be a link in the video description to download the graphic. And until we meet again in 2026 to see what updates are going to come to next year, I always want you guys to remember the one thing and one thing only, and that's how it's great to be in the Empire today. Oh, it's great to be in the Empire today. The sun never sets.